Kit Carson, Part 6. In 20 days, the rendezvous broke up. Kit Carson, Part 6. In 20 days, the rendezvous broke up, and I and 7 men went to Brown's Hole, a trading post where I joined Thompson and St. Clair's party on a trading expedition to the Navajo Indians. We procured 30 mules from them and returned to Brown's Hole. After our arrival, Thompson took the mules to the South Fork of the Platte, where he disposed of them to Sublet and Vasquez and returned with goods suitable for trading with the Indians. I was now employed as a hunter for the fort, and I continued in this service during the winter, having to keep 20 men supplied with meat. In the spring of 1838, I joined Bridger. Besides myself, the party included Dick Owens and 3 Canadians. We 5 men started for the Black Hills to hunt. After we had trapped the streams in the vicinity of the hills, we separated, Owens and myself taking one course and the Canadians another. We made a good hunt for 3 months and then started to find the main camp, which was on a tributary of Green River. We remained with the main party till July and then went into rendezvous on the Popoagee, a tributary of Wind River. About the 20th of August, we started for the Yellowstone, and after trapping it and all the adjoining streams, we went into winter quarters. About the 1st of January 1839, a few of our men were out hunting not far from camp and discovered a party of Blackfeet. As soon as this information was brought to us, a party of 40 men started out to meet them and drove them to seek cover on an island in the Yellowstone, where they strongly fortified themselves. We commenced the attack late in the day, and the fight continued till sunset, when we had to retire. We lost 1 man killed, a Delaware Indian and a brave man, and had 1 man wounded. In the morning, we returned to the place where the Indians had fortified themselves, but they had abandoned it. On examining the fort, we discovered that they had lost several men during the attack of the previous evening. There was much blood in the fort, and a large trail which led to a hole in the ice revealed to us where they had disposed of their dead. We knew that the main village of the Blackfeet was not far off. Bridger, an experienced mountaineer, said, "Now, boys, the Indians are close by, and in a short time a party of 500 or 600 will return to avenge the death of those we have slain, and we will have to keep a sharp lookout." In the course of 15 days, his words were verified. A mile away from our camp, there was a large butte on which we posted a sentinel who commanded a view of the surrounding country during the day. On the 15th day, he discovered the Blackfeet marching towards us. They camped on a large island and immediately commenced making a fortification. They kept arriving until there were at least 1,500 warriors assembled on this spot. As soon as we perceived their approach, we commenced to fortify our own position, being confident they would come in force. Our fort was strongly built, and nothing but artillery could do any damage to it. The Indians had constructed 111 forts. On the evening, the last of their reinforcements arrived. They had a war dance. We could hear their songs and knew that in the morning they would make the attack. They came as we expected, at sunrise, but seeing the strength and invincibility of our position, they fired a few shots which did no execution, and finding that they could not do us any damage without charging our breastworks, which they declined to do, they retired. We were only 60 strong, the Indians 1,500, but there was not one of our band but felt anxious for the fight. We dared them to make the attack, but nothing could persuade them to do so. They retired about a mile, where all sat down in council. In a short time they arose and divided into 2 bands, half going in the direction of the Crow country and the other half taking the course by which they had come. We remained at our fort until spring without any further molestation. We kept our animals in the fort at night, feeding them on cottonwood, and in the daytime allowed them to graze under guard. On the return of spring, we commenced our hunt, trapping the tributaries of the Missouri to the head of Lewis Fork, and then started for the rendezvous on Green River near the mouth of Horse Creek. There we remained until August, when myself and 5 others went to Fort Hall and joined a party attached to the Northwest Fur Company. We trapped to the head of Salmon River, then to the Malade, and down this stream to the Big Snake and up Big Snake. We then trapped Goose Creek and Raft River, and returning to the Fort Hall disposed of the beaver we'd caught. We remained here a month and then joined Bridger in the Blackfoot country. After striking the waters of the Missouri, we discovered that there were other trappers in advance of us, and 15 of us left our party to overtake them and find out who they were. We came up with them the same day and found they were a party in charge of Joseph Gale, engaged in trapping for Captain Wyatt. Gale told us that he had lately had a fight with the Blackfeet, in which several of his men were wounded. Among the number was Richard Owens, who had nearly recovered from his wounds. Knowing that the remainder of our party would follow our trail, we did not consider it necessary to return to them, and having accomplished our mission, we concluded to await their arrival where we were. In the morning, we commenced to set our traps. The men who were thus engaged had proceeded about 2 miles when they were fired upon by a party of Blackfeet and compelled to retreat. They reached our camp with the Indians close in their rear. We sheltered ourselves and our animals in the brush and opened the fight. Although we were but a few in number, we had the advantage of being concealed while our enemy was exposed to view. We fought them the greater part of the day, killing a large number of them. They did everything they could to drive us from our place of concealment, finally setting fire to the brush. All the outer fringe of brush was consumed, but that under which we remained was not touched. I cannot account for our miraculous escape from the flames, unless it was the protecting hand of Providence. It could scarcely have been anything else, for the brush where we were concealed was dry and as easily burned as that which had been consumed. Finding that they could not drive us from our concealment, and that they were losing men every moment from the unerring aim of our rifles, the Indians concluded to abandon the attack and departed. I presume they had discovered the approach of the main party, and the fear that the firing would be heard and that they would be surrounded by considerable force, but without poor prospect of any of them getting away if they remained any longer, was the main cause of their retreat. As soon as they left, we started for our main camp, which was some 6 miles distant. Gale, seeing that on account of the weakness of his party he could not travel in safety, joined us, and we moved on together to Stinking Creek. The day we arrived, one of our men was killed by the Blackfeet. On the same day, as I was about 8 miles in advance of our main party, I saw a number of ravens in the distance, hovering over a particular spot. I concluded to go and discover the cause of the gathering, and found the carcass of a bear that had been lately killed by the Indians, the trail being fresh. And, taking the course I wished to pursue, induced me to return to our party. Every day for 8 or 10 days we were fired upon and forced to return to camp. We were surrounded by the Indians, and finding it impossible to hunt to any advantage, we set out for the North Fork of the Missouri. We traveled up the stream 4 days when we came upon a large village of Flathead and Pondray Indians. A chief of the Flatheads and part of his tribe joined us, and we journeyed on to Big Snake River, where we went into winter quarters and passed the winter without being molested by the Indians. End of Part 6.